Welcome back to another fishing video. In this video we're going to go out to Lake Wallace and check out the new Accessible Fishing Pontoon. Something that I've been wanting to check out for quite some time. Let's stick around, should be a good one. Today I'm taking my father down to Lake Wallace to go and check out the new Accessible Fishing Pontoon. But first I need to go down to the shed and make some lures. During September 2020, Adam Marshall, the Minister of Agriculture, announced that there was going to be an accessible fishing platform at Lake Wallace. Ray Tang and Ben Lane from the Wallerawang Central Acclimatisation Society played a large role in the 8-year pontoon project. They brought together many organisations to assist in the funding. Ray Tang and Ben Lane do a lot for the fishing scene around Lithgow and the Central West, such as restocking rivers and dams with natives and various trout species in a dollar for dollar program under the New South Wales Fisheries Guidance. These guys have volunteered a lot of their time to the community, and I was super happy to see that they got an award during the Lithgow Australia Day ceremony 2022. Unfortunately, with COVID continuing to disrupt our lives, the build of the pontoon was delayed, and as of late February, the opening of the ramp is still delayed. The location of the pontoon is on the west side of the lake, not far from the lake's entrance and the baseball fields. I was reading that the Lithgow City Council chose this site for the pontoon because of a deep hole that is well known for fishing. This would more than likely be the original riverbed that runs from north to south of the lake. So this is the first time I've gotten a chance to see the new pontoon up close. I parked my car close to the pontoon so that my father didn't have to walk far. He seemed so keen to check out the action on the pontoon that he opened the door of the car before it even stopped. Walking down to the ramp for the first time was interesting. I've never walked on a modular floating platform before. The first thing I thought of was the feeling of walking on pumped up Coke bottles. But after 5 minutes or so, that sensation disappeared. Looking around the ramp, you can tell some thought has gone into the design for fishing, such as the chains that connects the rails together to prevent the rods from slipping through the gaps, the 3 poles that are missing from the top rails for the landing net access, the non-slip vinyl matting, and the pontoon's location. After positioning ourselves on the ramp and rigging up, we met some of the campers that were fishing on the pontoon. It wasn't long and the ramp came alive with excitement as a young girl had caught her first fish, and it was a good sized rainbow trout. One of the campers showed me video footage of a couple of guys that were on the ramp the day before, and they managed to catch 10 good sized rainbows.
So that's one.
Damn.
Killing it. Pull up the keeper from here.
I was wondering how they were keeping them fresh.
As for the fishing, my father was using worms and some of the 3-inch paddle tails I'd been making. I was using some power bait out in the deep and small plastic panfish lures that I had made thinking that the redfin would be all around the ramp. I ended up switching up to the 3-inch paddle tail in the pink colour and finally got a bite on the lift and drop technique. I threw out towards the rowing club, let the lure sink to the bottom, and then started to lift and drop. It didn't take long and I felt a heavy weight after the pause.
No.
I didn't make much commotion around the ramp, so I didn't have a net on me, and I thought I was going to lose it anyway. As it was coming in, you could tell it wasn't a trout.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, damn. That's pretty good. Damn. Yeah. It's a big one. I don't have a net. I left it in the car. Grab him by the throat.
What is that? Oh.
Huge.
That's the biggest red thing I've seen come out of it.
That's massive. Wow.
Where are you going to put it there?
They're good eating.
Yeah, they go pretty good actually, as long as you skin them. Don't leave the skin on.
Yeah.
I thought it was just
That's a monster. I thought it was a carp when I first brought it in.
Like a carp to me with a big mouth like that.
Well, no need to buy dinner.
Oh, that's a beautiful one.
Yeah.
Dinner table one.
Do you want to give it a crack?
Yeah.
There you go. You going to chuck her in the esky?
Yeah.
She's a bit skinny.
Get a photo with it.
You want to take a photo?
Yeah, I'll take. What's the best way to cook them? After you skin them, let's say.
Oh,
Fried.
yeah, it's not too bad.
As you
boil,
can hear,
bit of
Dad's excited.
tomatoes,
He's
something
thinking
like
about
that.
recipes
Yeah, some herbs.
already.
Goes alright.
Oh, we can put that with that, was it that cacciatore sauce?
Hey, that'd go alright. Yeah, a few olives or something.
Olives, tomato paste.
I'm gonna chuck that in the esky.
Later on, I'll show you how I prepare redfin. This was my first time visiting. I had been waiting ages to check this out, and I thought it was great. My father enjoyed the day out on the pontoon as well. He enjoyed it so much that he's been fixing a chair. I guess he might visit the pontoon more often. At the end of the day, you've got to thank Ray Tang and Ben Lane for all their efforts on gathering the fundings and organising to get this pontoon actually made, and all the work that they've done for the Central West fishing community. I'm sure there's going to be some great fishing stories coming from this pontoon in the near future. Before we start preparing that redfin I caught out at Lake Wallace, first we need to know some rules and regulations on redfin or English perch in New South Wales waterways. In New South Wales waterways, there is no size or bag limits. You can return the fish to the water after you've caught it, however it is preferred that you do not. It is illegal to be in possession of live redfin, so that means you cannot have them live in a bucket, an aquarium, keeper net, a live well, etc. It is illegal to transport live redfin without a permit. It is illegal to buy and sell redfin, live or dead, in New South Wales. It is illegal to use live or dead redfin as bait in inland waters. So that's some of the rules that DPI have on redfin in inland waterways. So now I'm going to have a look at preparing this redfin. I always skin redfin, not because I'm too lazy to scale them, but because I feel that it improves the flavour of the finished product. I found that redfin have a really unique smell to their skin, and I find it to be really unpleasant. Research from America's Test Kitchen has found that bacteria on the surface of the skin breaks down a compound called trimethylamine oxide, and that is what the unpleasant odour comes from. To start the skinning preparation, I make a small cut behind the head of the fish so that I can insert the knife under the skin and cut both sides of the dorsal. Once the two cuts have been made from the head to the tail, you then run your thumbs or fingers under the skin to separate the skin from the flesh. You will find that sometimes you will need to run a knife along the inside of the skin to separate the connecting tissue, but most of the time thumbs and finger pressure is just enough. Once you have the majority of the skin separated, you make the cut behind the head deeper. Cut it so that you cut through the spine, but not far enough to cut the head off. You will need to keep the head attached to the next step. Place one finger into the stomach cavity, and with the finger of your other hand, place into the back of the head and simply pull apart. The flesh should pull away from the belly skin, leaving the entrails with the head. You should now have flesh and bone in one hand, skin, entrails, and a head in the other hand. Then the last step is to fillet the flesh away from the bone, just like you would any other fish. There was a time when I used to scale the redfin, prepare it like you would a bream, but now I find it so much easier to skin it, and it removes the majority of the redfin odour. One thing to note is that you might miss some flesh from the stomach side of the fish. You can waste a lot of time filleting around the ribcage. When you have been up early and out in the sun all day, the last thing you want is to be getting super fussy with filleting, especially when you have 20, 30 plus fish to clean.
Good for webcams too.
There is one more step to getting rid of that odour, but I'll save that for the cooking process. One thing I've never put much thought into while heading out on fishing trips is emergency safety devices. I've never had any form of emergencies while out travelling, so it's never been on my mind to actually think about emergency safety devices for any of my vehicles. You know, the common thought, it'll never happen to me. But now I can actually say that it has happened to me. Recently I took my father out fishing to Ben Chifley Dam at Bathurst, but on the way home I felt something was not quite right with the car and it was lacking power to get up the hills. I thought I'd limp the car home and then eventually get down to the motor mechanics to find out what was wrong with the car. Unfortunately the car decided that it wasn't going to go that way. It was 25 kilometres to go. I looked in the rear vision mirror and I seen what looked to be like blue smoke coming out the back. I quickly pulled over, looked in the engine bay, didn't see any oil. There was no problems at all. I then looked under the car and noticed that the diff was on fire. After this event, I found out just how lucky I was, because it wasn't only the diff that was on fire, it was also the fuel tank. Most importantly, I was lucky that I had the boat in tow, simply because it's the only vehicle I've got that has a fire extinguisher. The New South Wales Boating Handbook states that you must have a fire extinguisher on the boat if you have an electric start, an electric engine, a battery, a gas installation, or a fuel stove. So my boat does come under that, so therefore I do need a fire extinguisher. And if I didn't have the boat behind the car, I would have lost the car for sure. After going through this event, it has made me more aware of just how important it is to have all the safety equipment in any kind of vehicle. The following day, I went down to my local fire and safety shop and purchased 3 extinguishers, one for the car, a large bottle for the boat, and a small bottle from a weekend driver. Getting these fire extinguishers was a small price to pay compared to when you price out the loss of cameras, fishing equipment, the boat and even the car. But more importantly, it's a small price to pay to prevent a good day out from becoming an absolute disaster.
So we're at the end of the video now. I was really shocked. I've never had a car fire before, so I definitely thought that was worthwhile putting in the video. I know that just a little bit of fire protection in the car, it's definitely going to be worthwhile, especially when you can lose the whole lot. As for the Redfin, that's just the way I prepare it. There is another step to do it with it. You can put it in milk and that'll get the remaining smell, like that taste, off the flesh. As for the Lake Wallace, my old man, he enjoyed himself, and it looked like that young family on the wharf, they enjoyed themselves as well. But as for the lure company, it's up and going. The name of the company is Central West Lures. I'm working on a website at the moment, but at the moment you can check out what I'm doing on Facebook under Central West Lures as well. Thanks for watching, thanks for making it this far too, and we'll see you in the next one.